So what we're going to do now is actually start typing some data in R. So what we're going to do, work with a little data set that we type into R. And it is, of course, the number of deaths involving COVID-19 in different age groups in March and April in the UK. And this is data that's come from the Office of National Statistics. Okay, so this is kind of what we're aiming for. This is the little data set that we're going to work with. We've got a variable which is age group. So this is actually going to be a character variable because it's a range of values. It's not a number. It's just a label for that category, if you like. And then in another column, we've got a number here, which is the number of deaths that have occurred in that age group. And we're going to do a plot of that data. So what you want to do is you want to go to RStudio and start up a new project. So let me switch to RStudio. You can not worry about this script. You can get rid of that now if you like, and it's going to go away on its own, I think. What you want to do is go to this project menu on your top right-hand side and do new project. And you've got a warning saying, do you want to save these changes? And you can say, don't save, don't need it. And what's going to happen now is that you're going to get a window up, which gives you an option to create a new project directory. So a project is a way of collecting together all your analyses in one place that are associated with one particular bit of work. So you want to go new directory, new project, and then you have an opportunity to give it a name. And you want to be deliberate about where you save this. So you want to browse for where this is a good place to save it. My desktop is fine, but you can click on the browse window here and change to somewhere you want to go. You need to. And I'm going to call it, let's call it COVID. And I'll create a project there. And what this should do is start up RStudio. You might be able to see a switching there. A new session in RStudio in which it now indicates you're in a particular directory, COVID directory, and your files view has changed. So you've actually now changed what we call your working directory to a different directory. So then our next step is to create a new script. So you want to click on the plus new script button, and then you probably want to save this. So do File, Save As, and then maybe call it Analysis. So I've got my screen settings on magnified, but some windows still come up small. So the extension here will automatically be a .r file. Any minute now that will update. So you should be able to see now that your script has changed name to analysis.r without you having to put a .r on the end. And if you look at your files window, you've now also got a file called analysis.r. You don't need to worry about this particular file here, the COVID proj file. So what you want to do is, first of all, create a vector that has in the age group variables. So you might want to go to the slides and copy this. That's what I'm going to do. You should be able to copy it from the slides. Control C, and then I'm going to go to my analysis script, and I'm going to add a comment here. I'm going to put the age groups, so I know what it is. And then I've used a C to collect together the different age groups. I've got quotes around it so they know that they're treated like characters. And then I've got a comma between each one. So if we run that command, I should now have a variable in my global environment called age, which is a vector of character values. There's seven different age groups. So we might want to just take a quick look at that using the str function. So str is a function I use all the time to sort of truth check what I've done. So when I read in data, or when I type in data, I might just use str straight away just to check that it's done what I think it's done, as well as checking the environment, because this is just kind of a pathological thing. Is there a way to create line breaks in RStudio? So I've probably forgotten that I've changed that. So what you might have found is that your script here has gone much longer, so you have to scroll across. So there's two ways of dealing with this. One way in the short term is to go to your tools again. So on the menu at the top, go to global options. And some of the options you can choose here in the code section includes soft wrapping for source files. So yours is probably ticked off at the moment. So if I was to apply that, you can see, or you might be able to see there, that now you have to scroll across the window. I usually soft wrap mine. So the other thing you can do is to, and this is good practice in general, is to try and write code that doesn't have very long lines. So you can put an enter after every comma. And this is considered very good practice for many things. We don't often do it for variables like this, but for lots of other commands, you put a comma, an enter after the comma, and then you can see that R will indent for you, so that you can see it's all part of the same command, but now it's all in a smaller window. And that's generally good practice. Try and keep your code sort of no more than 70 characters if you can. And it will still run just the same. I can still run that. It doesn't matter where my cursor is in this particular block of code. So I can stick it just there after the 0 and go Control Enter and it'll run. Or I could have I'll put the bracket there and do Control Enter and it'll run. So one of the advantages of structuring your code like this with an enter after every comma is that it makes it much easier for you to see the structure of your code. So it's more easy to see that you've got a something, a comma, the something, a comma, something, a comma. It makes it easy for you to not forget to put a closing quote or a comma between arguments. Oh, I've said numeric there. It's not a numeric vector, it's a character vector. Let's just show you that. It was a numeric vector in the past when I was doing a different example. So there, I've got the output down here is a character vector with 7 elements of it, and there they are, or the first few of them are. So what you want to do now is create another vector called freak, which contains the number of deaths in each age group. So copy or type that code out. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to add a comment that says the number of deaths. Press enter there, you see it's actually automatically put my comma on, my comment on. So I'm just going to delete that before I enter the, whoops, I obviously haven't copied. Let me just copy that. So now I've copied it. So this is now going to create a variable for me called freak, which has these 7 numbers in it. So I've got those 2 variables now. And you might want to try using another function called sum. And I'm not going to do it, I can just let you do that, to see what the total number of deaths were in this period for those age groups. So we can use this function called sum and put the variable called freak in there, and it'll add up all the values in there to give us about 6,500